Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
Florida with Columbia down the way.
And the sound effect you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Let me put my shades on. I almost forgot. I was like, why is it so bright in here, yo? What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of King. I broke out something different this time.
Where you from? Brooklyn going out to all.
I gotta add that next time. Capital? I gotta add that more often.
Indeed. You know, when you're a kid from Brooklyn and you're a star like that, you gotta have the shades on. So you know, it's gonna that actually just reminded me of something else. I might need to try to find for you. Hakeem Jeffries was on The View,
right?
And he was mentioning Brooklyn, and it was like, and of course people out in the audience was like, woo, and it was like, yeah, somebody's always out there from Brooklyn.
That's right.
And I wanted to get that sound clip. I'm about to pull that one. But this, folks, is the Comic Book Chronicles, which you can find on the Coast of the Podcast Network, that's cspn.us.
Do it today.
You could also find us on your podcast proven place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the Coast of the Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because it matters there.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to put the part up. Real quick. You could also find us recording, well, usually every Thursday, mostly every Thursday night, on the YouTube channel of the Kliq Nation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Yes, mostly because life obviously does get in the way. Make sure to click like, subscribe, and hit the notification button, that bell, so that you know when we are on live and direct recording and broadcasting.
Absolutely. We are coming to you tonight on a Friday night for such reason, that being movie protocol. But we were going to get into that in a second. But first, we're going to talk about the recently released first 3 episodes of Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 3 that just graced us.
Yes, absolutely. So, do we have the titles? Because I know that they were titled separately.
I am looking them up. Right. I remember the last one was Shadows of Tantus or something like that. So I'm looking them up now.
Right. But bottom line is, these first 3 episodes set the stage for this, what we know to be the final season of The Bad Batch. And we catch up with all of our characters, including supporting characters. So if I recall correctly, that first episode, it's funny. I actually watched them all in a bunch. So I'm having trouble recalling exactly what happened. I could actually use an episode recap. I hope there's something out there.
There probably is. There we go. All right. The first episode is called Confined. The second episode is called Path Unknown, and the third one is called Shadows of Tantus, which, of course, they love doing their shadows of something.
Right. So I guess so now that kind of clues me in as to how these episodes broke down. The first episode gets us caught up with Omega and what she's up to, and unfortunately how this all ties into The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The second episode, and this is just very broad stroke stuff. I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts. The second episode catches us up with Hunter and Wrecker, the 2 members of the Bad Batch who are out and about. I forgot to mention that we do catch up with Crosshair. I wanted to say Crossfire. I was like, no, it's not Crossfire. Not the video, not the old school marble board game, but
I'm so glad you remember that.
I had it. I had that game.
Mm-hmm.
I had that. I played that at home with my sibling and extended family a lot.
Nice.
But Crosshair is also in captivity with, not together with Omega, but in the same facility.
Right.
And the third episode is how the wheels turn to get this group of clone siblings, as it were, together. Right, we're not there yet, but the wheels start turning in episode 3. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts. But that's essentially how the first 3 episodes laid out the story so far.
Yeah, I know for some they would probably, might need to look at, and I'm sure there's no shortage of them out there, a kind of a recap episode of what happened since the last season ended. And like I said, I'm sure that is definitely out there. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that it is. But the 3 episodes, you get why they do this stuff. So like, this is not the first time they have done like, hey, we're gonna throw all 3 of these episodes out, just to kind of get this kicked off. And I'm kind of glad they didn't make us wait. In a way, I'm kind of glad they didn't make us just wait for them separately. I'm not sure if they're going to do the same thing as I think they did with the last season, in that the first couple and the last couple of episodes kind of came out, on one night, basically. But I don't know if that's going to happen here. We know it's starting out the way it is with the 3 episodes, so there is that. And from what I'm seeing, according to IMDb, it looks like there are 15 episodes in this season, if this is to be believed.
Okay.
So, because you never know, because like sometimes, and just like there's around the going rate for the seasons of the show. Well, I guess it's one less than the other 2 seasons from what I'm seeing here, but nevertheless, around the same number. So this being the last season of the show, which is already kind of tempting, showing shades of how it might end in a way. I don't know if anything that has been seen in the first 3 episodes is going to be an ongoing thing for the season, but it sure seems to be the case. And obviously, since this is the last season, you kind of go, there is the kind of the concern about, well, what's going to happen to everyone that is still around,
right?
Which, as Agent 7 said, yeah, the only 2 that are, the only 2 that are kind of out and looking for Omega and Crosshair are Hunter and Wrecker. Although this is a slight spoiler. The first episode had of course the recap, before it started, and the fallen member Tech was shown. Sometimes that, sometimes just because, well, this is just a recap and that's all it is to it. But sometimes when they do stuff like that, it just means that, hey, this character might actually show back up some way,
right.
shape, or form.
Right.
And I'm not going to say which way either way in this, but regardless, you do get a halfway serviceable recap coming into the first 3 episodes. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the rest of the season come out. I'm just want to savor it all, and I'm guessing that it's going to continue to come out on Wednesdays per usual. And I haven't seen anything. Actually, I should get off the IMDb page because some of those thumbnails are kind of telling something.
Oh, they're spoilery. They're spoilery.
Well, at the very least of who may end up showing up on an episode or two.
Well, we know that we already know from the if I'm not mistaken, the trailer already shows us a particular female character.
Yes, but that's not who I'm talking about.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
You can see why I was speaking so vaguely.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, let me phrase that. The one that I just saw, as far as I know, is not the one that you might be thinking of, but I think I know who you're thinking about, and it's definitely not that person. So, which again, we already know. So yeah, that makes that makes some sense. So that being said, I don't know. There's really not much else to say without trying to, giving up some details on it, and we don't want to do that because even despite the fact that we're recording on a Friday and the episodes came out on Thursday, people are just really getting to them this weekend.
Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, Wednesday, excuse me. And it's Friday when we're recording, So,
yeah, we try not to overly spoil it if it's within the first week. So, but ultimately what we said is it's a good start. I'm glad that they dropped 3 because it really whets the appetite for the rest of the season.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, these 3 episodes put together make a whole lot of sense. Presented the way they are, because that way you could just kind of go into the rest of the season and be like, okay, well, this is the case, this is the case, and this is the case.
Right.
Keep them pushing. So, but yeah, Bad Batch. I've actually, I think I talked to somebody who has never seen Bad Batch, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. But I also don't know how they feel about, which I forgot to ask about Star Wars stories and stuff in general,
right,
or the animated stuff. So, I would say, hey, the show's great. The show's been pretty good. We will see how it ends up. If it continues to be good as it ends, then all a part of the magic. The Filoni verse is still strong.
Definitely.
That being the case, One Agent 70. The reason why we are coming to you a day later went to go see the Demon Slayer event happening in the movie theaters.
Right. So what's in the movie theaters right now is episode 11, the final episode of the Swordsmith Village arc, right? Which is an extra long episode. And we get episode 1 of the Hashira training arc, which is brand new for the new season. And let me tell you something, folks, it's a lot of fun to see the last episode of the Swordsmith Village arc on the big screen. It was a lot of fun to see that. If there's one thing I can say about Demon Slayer, and it's something that was relayed to me by an old friend of mine who told me that her daughter had gotten her into Demon Slayer. Her daughter's like a tween, right? Or I want to say like late junior high school, maybe even early high school. And one thing she told me was that she just thought that Demon Slayer is just beautiful to watch.
Checks out.
And it absolutely is. UFO Table kills it every time. And it's just remarkable to see it on a giant screen. So, if you can, try to check it out. And we'll get more of these anime premieres in movie theaters the more people will go to see this thing. I wanted to also mention that in the trailers we saw the Spy X Family or Spy Family movie trailer.
Okay. Which
is going to drop in May or March or April, something like that.
I believe it's April. Actually, here I got it. Well, I do have an article on it. We'll talk about it later. So,
right. Ultimately, that may end up being our next movie protocol. It might be.
Yeah.
It depends on times and showings and whatnot.
Right.
But that might be it, because I think what was my line of thinking before is that our next movie protocol wouldn't happen until probably Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine now.
Mm.
But we might do Spy X Family before that.
April
So we'll see.
19th.
There it is. Which is not that far away because, you know, like we always kind of ruefully joke, February has come and almost gone. You know, it's unbelievably already the last full week in February.
Yeah. Yep. Shortest month of the year, most with the most history. As I have said previously. So yeah, that Spy Family one is probably gonna happen. I kind of wanted to do the Demon Slayer one, but I was like, I had other things. Oh.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, that's something that, you know, you can make time to go see. It's not like night of, you know, like first night, gotta go. You know, it's almost the same thing with Godzilla -1. Like if you really, you know, have an urge to go see it, you go see it. You
Yeah.
know, like I happen to have a friend who wanted to go see it too, so we went. You know,
Right.
shout out to Boss Jones.
Indeed. Also, I was gonna say Demon Slayer, Crossing Generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you gotta love it when a piece of media can do that. Yeah. Although I don't know, you said your friend's mom. I assume there are.
No. It's my friend's daughter.
Excuse me, their friend's daughter. Yes. But the mom, your friend, I assume is around our age.
Yes.
And were they already into anime, bro? Was not.
Not at all.
There we go. So that was the part I was trying to get to. So,
yeah. No, I figured that was what your point was anyway.
Right.
You know, is that it's crossing generations. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to be more, you know, obviously because we're fans of the genre and fans of that type of storytelling, we would be more ready for it. But obviously, for someone who's not, you know, all they have to do is kind of watch a little bit of it and just really appreciate how well done it is.
Yeah. It doesn't take much. Not take much. And with that, folks, we're going to move on to the books of the week. We will definitely be talking about more Demon Slayer when it actually comes out proper.
Right.
So, but we start off this week's books with Ultimate Spider-Man #2.
All righty. Ultimate Spider-Man #2 is written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Marco Cacchetto, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. So I'm going to lead off this particular recap by saying that this is certainly a candidate for Click of the Week for me. I legitimately, earnestly, definitely enjoyed reading this because now we've gotten to the real. I mean, obviously, the first issue is lots of setup for Hickman's take on this new ultimate version of Spider-Man, and there are a lot of differences and different takes on and twists on what we know to be like canon in the 616 Spider-Man that Hickman is adapting for this new Ultimate Spider-Man. But let me tell you, Hickman takes that to another level in this issue by teasing a lot of twists and I want to say tweaks to what we know by adapting and borrowing from other characters and other appearances of Spider-Man in other media. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
I'm glad you said other media because it does seem there could, I don't want to put this on this, but it's the Ultimate Universe, so it's going to happen anyway. There is not necessarily a MCU vacation, but as Agent 70 said, it kind of borrows from the other media, such as the MCU, because we see, we see a Peter here who's kind of coming into things in a different way than what we've seen in the main universe, but not terribly different from what we have seen on screen. And in the way that Hickman puts it out here makes it kind of fun. There is a costume choice right off the bat that is
two
very
costume
curious.
choices.
Well, yes, but the first
costume.
Yeah, but the initial one that we see was an interesting choice that Agent 70 and I was talking about before the show, and it was like, huh, this does kind of seem like that in a way. But we were not giving some information about a couple of particular things about the costume,
right,
as of yet.
Call it what I was saying earlier, a tweak and kind of borrowing from other characters.
Right. So, which also begs the question, like, well, and they're not really playing into it that much, but I'm kind of wondering if a similar situation is going to come back up at a later date with this book. But I don't know. We don't know the particulars about this thing first off, so we don't know the case, or at least I can say I don't recall that we do, because, like I said, we kind of see Peter kind of going through the motions. The book is kind of fun. It's also a potential click of the week for myself because of how Hickman handles this version of Peter and his interactions with other people and already screwing up in a couple of different ways.
I was going to say, and actually putting that right into the story.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it right into the story, right into this version of Peter's thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Inner monologue, actually reading along with us and our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out, well, so if this is how this version of Spider-Man starts, already knowing how things have changed. He already knows how things have changed because of, it's part of his origin. So part of his thought process, thought of that inner monologue that we are privy to in this issue, is basically us kind of thinking along with him. Like, wait a second. So is this how this is going to work if we're catching up with a Spider-Man who's 2 weeks on the job?
Right. Not only 2 weeks on the job, but 2 weeks and some years after the fact, right? Some years older than what we initially, see him as in the main universe. So he's kind of coming to it a lot later than he would have or initially. And actually, I guess it goes to say for some who are not following along with the Ultimate stuff. So, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's the whole thing anyway. But the reason why this is happening is because this is basically a remake of the Ultimate universe that an evil Reed Richards kind of crafted. But he crafted in a way to where some major heroes did not come into being right off the bat or at all. So we are in a world where, okay, so Spider-Man did happen originally when he would have. So there is that, and some other heroes which we will get into once when the other stuff start popping off, like Ultimate Black Panther just already started this, and then Ultimate is coming up at some point. So this is a world that's kind of like, okay, well, this happened, but now some of the folks are starting to get hip to what is going on in this world, almost a House of M style, but also kind of regaining what was taken from them,
right,
initially. So
can I
makes it a little bit more compelling.
What was that? What is that character's name in the main Amazing book? Is it Paul?
Yes. Oh,
yeah,
MJ's dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot wait until he bites the dust. Cannot wait. Happens. I can only imagine Marvel editorial saying, well, you know what? If you don't like them, just read Ultimate. I may end up doing that.
I mean, yeah, that is optional. I mean, we already know that somebody's dropped the main the main Black Panther book for the Ultimate version so far, so it is a thing that can happen.
Right.
And like I said, because of this issue, it's still continuing to be a treat to read the way it is. It is also bringing the question. Obviously, if you know enough of Spider-Man history and have read this book, you will see some things are very much different from what they were, and you kind of wonder if some of this stuff is going to play out or come back around and play out like they have in the main universe. So just like, well, did you read Ultimate Black Panther? Did you finally read it or no?
I have not caught up to it yet.
Okay. Well, then I won't.
I have not. I mean, I don't know when I will, but I have not yet.
Gotcha. But nevertheless, like I said, because of the differences in how this world was shaped and what's going on in it now, that it kind of lends itself to whether some events that we know would happen or have had happened or originally is going to happen. One of which kind of is already there. Well, not kind of already there, but it's kind of on the precipice, because if you're watching the video version, you can see the cover of Ultimate Spider-Man #2. So, and you see there is a familiar looking villain who does show up, but not in the way that not in the way that the cover is suggesting.
Right. Also borrowing from other media.
Yep. Which, yeah.
Very much so borrowing from other media.
So, which again, like I said, the Ultimate Universe, in its making ended up being the MCU anyway. So it's kind of funny how things are kind of turning about.
Well, to a certain extent. A certain extent. Yeah. Obviously, very big chunks of the Ultimate Universe became the MCU, but they were very wise to incorporate much of the original 616 canon into the MCU in order to get rid of certain, quote unquote modernizations, like Cap being a jerk face. Right?
Yeah. Hey, time will tell.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
In terms of the MCU, right? They made Cap like literally a Boy Scout the way he was in the 616.
Right.
Well, he is in the 616, not ultimate, level jerk face.
Right. So, but yeah, like I said, if you are interested, you should definitely check out Ultimate Spider-Man #2. Some would argue you could probably go ahead and read. I mean, it's not like I said, it's only 2 issues, and you can read it without the prior knowledge that we've kind of sort of just given you about the world at large in here.
Oh, and the Ultimate Invasion miniseries.
Right.
Yeah. Although, to be honest, I did recommend this series even before I read Ultimate Spider-Man #2 today. But the person I recommended it to, I went in with the caveat of saying, if you really want to understand this, read Ultimate Invasion.
Yes.
You don't need it, but if you want to understand it, read Ultimate Invasion.
Greetings. Yes. The Gaming Panda 79, who's in chat, was said, "What's up, fellas? What are we talking about? The new Ultimates run? We are talking about Ultimate Spider-Man #2 that came out this week. So, I'm hoping that's coming up on the screen. Are you going to do Ultimate Thor? Is Immortal Thor going to be the mainline title for Thor? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. But as Ultimate, Immortal Thor is the Thor in the 616 right now. I'm not sure. Did they even say they were doing an Ultimate Thor? I think they did. Or was he still going to?
They're doing an Ultimate Thor in the Ultimates book, but I don't think he's going to have his own book.
Right. That's what I was about to say. So, but yeah, Immortal Thor is the only Thor book that is out there, and probably is going to be out there at this point.
And it's very good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, Al Ewing, it's good stuff. Um, that being the case, we are going to move on to our next book, which we're going to stay on the Hickman train here for a moment longer, with
Sure.
God's number 5.
God's Number 5 is written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Valerio Schiti, colors by Marte Gracia, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. So this issue takes a bit of a swerve, a bit of a detour from the events of the last issue. This issue is a nice little detour, which kind of circles back to one of the new, well, there are obviously a lot of new characters introduced in Gods, right? It's literally a whole bunch of retconned characters into the regular canon of the 616. But this is one of the new younger characters being explored. And I really appreciated that they kept, they kind of assume once you're 5 issues in, you've figured out who is an avatar of this faction and who is an avatar of this faction, and you're sending this new character on an adventure, and at the end of the adventure you find out that not all is peachy keen with this new character because of these two factions not always getting along, right? And I'm speaking in very big general terms because, as our very own Tim Dog 98 once put it, there's a lot of mumbo jumbo in this. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo. But this new character, Mia, is, kind of caught in between the powers that be and the natural order of things. So you gotta love it, man.
Yeah, indeed. It's actually kind of funny because in a slight way you can kind of liken her to Emily from Strange Academy just a little bit, because she's younger and she's just kind of came into what she's got going on now. Um, but I don't think she's going to go the same way Emily did in Strange Academy that we know of, as far as we know, because and we've heard some things about this book. Excuse me, but with that we will talk about later. So, but yeah, as Agent Sammy said, there's a lot of Hickman mumbo jumbo. Shout out to Tim Dog for that saying, and still playing with his toys in a bit, because in the beginning we see some we see some folks and a reference to some of his old work on pre-Secret Wars, 2015 Secret Wars, that he kind of brings back into that he has actually brought back into play here, which was kind of funny. It was like, okay, so you only had one then, you're just gonna bring a whole slew of them in now. And then they reference to one name which I hadn't heard in a good long while since then, which is kind of funny. So
is that what that was?
The name that he when mentions to the
is that where how, because I was like, wait a second, what, how are all these characters connected?
Robin Malal, the Swans, all of that was from prior to Secret Wars.
Oh, you gotta love it. I knew that whatchamacallit, that the reference was there. It was kind of rattling around in my head, so I needed that little extra nudge.
Right.
It's very much, we were just talking about a character revisiting a writer, that is, revisiting all the characters that they like Jin McKay, right?
Yes.
There are writers that love to revisit elements of other books that they've worked on in their current book.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Hickman is no stranger to that.
Oh no, he's very much not.
So that's interesting. Now I'm gonna, man, what can you imagine if I had actually picked up on that and just plugged that into the wiki, into Google, and be like, oh,
mm-hmm. So, because at first I was like, wait a minute, what is going on with this, with the little bitty swans going on here? And sure enough, it's like, oh, okay, there we go. And then, like I said, the name that gets referenced halfway through the story. I'm like, yep, there we go. Hickman's doing his thing, just playing with his toys again. But yeah, so if you can get past the mumbo jumbo part, it is a potentially interesting thing going on here. To what extent? We still don't exactly know, and we may or may not ever know.
Maybe not in this form.
Yes, given the news that we will talk about later on, but I'm looking to see what hand it shows for the time being. But it's definitely kind of one of those books. It's like you have to not necessarily study the word, but you kind of have to get it. You gotta get into it. So there's also something funny because I think somebody mentioned shouting out Hickman's data pages in the X corner.
Right.
If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't get this one particular page, data page from that Executioner's book. Exterminator. Was it Executioner? Not Executioner. The book we were talking about with the last week. Exterminators, I think it was, where Dazzler and Jubilee and them was
right.
But then somebody was referencing a data page out of that, which was kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Those data pages can be a lifesaver in certain cases. Right. Like, what in the world's going on? But nevertheless, we're not much of that going on here, but there were some. But actually, speaking of the data pages, we're going to move into the next book that we're talking about in the X corner, which is Rise of the Powers of X #2.
Oh boy. Rise of the Powers of X #2 is written by Kieron Gillen, with art by R.B. Silva, colors by David Curiel, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. There's a lot going on here, folks. And if you think we were joking about the data pages becoming very much relevant, even important to the reading experience and to the comprehension of the story that's occurring in the pages before you, guess what? If you miss or skip a particular set of data pages in this issue, you won't understand what the hell is going on. I'm specifically referring to the data page that describes what has happened in that first issue and into the early parts of this issue of the Rise of the Powers of X, or Rise of the Powers of 10. We're talking about No Place X.
Yes.
Right? That's the most minor spoiler I can give you. What No Place X is, where it is, how it affects the story. That's super important. So you cannot, I repeat, you cannot skip those two data pages.
Yeah.
In any event, right, in any event, I will say that we're finally getting to see what Rasputin 4 was meant for, literally, right? Because we all thought that character was one of the coolest visuals that came out of Hoxpox, the earliest days of Hoxpox. Right? We're trying to figure out how Rasputin 4 all fits into this.
Right.
We also get a little bit of time travel shenanigans. We get the formation, I guess the next steps in the plan, let's say. And interestingly enough, some people are left in the dark. Some people suspect they know what's going on. The Rhodey plan may not be in effect. Right? It may be in effect. It may not be in effect. And what I'm referring to is the scene from Endgame. That. So, I'm doing the using the choking arm move, but bottom line, this is a lot of fun, but it's not an easy thing to jump in on. You definitely need to have a fairly deep understanding of what has been going on in the fall of X to get to this point. And hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's you pretty much said the majority of it. Mm. So,
Oh, and I just can
Okay.
go, jump in a lake.
yeah, especially when if Doug has something to say about it, which we
Right.
come to find out, things continue to be in certain cases not what they seem. Because at first I thought it was weirdly out of character for Cypher to say a thing to bring up a thing that he said in the beginning of his book about just going ahead and going further than the Rhodey plan, quote unquote.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's a little hardcore for that dude, and we find out why. Which once you find out why, it's like, okay, and you've been keeping up with what's been going on with this, it makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is, as much as I hate to say it, this is probably going to be one of those, just like Hoxpox, that's going to be better read in trade, unless you've been keeping up with, like luckily this Rise and Fall have been coming out, joining weeks or bi-weekly with between each other. So, or I think that's the case. But we know Fall came out last week, so just understand the reason. But nevertheless, they've been coming out in a way that's like, well, at least you're gonna get two sides of the story, just like much like Hoxpox was. But they will definitely read way better once it's all collected in a thing. You may still have some stuff, to kind of seek out from the midst of the Krakoan era, but since we are nearing the end of it, and we got a little bit of news of about that later on in the show also, yeah, it's going to be one of those things. This is where that's going to be kind of key to understanding if you're coming to it in a certain way or at a certain time.
Yep.
That being said, let's see what we got next on the docket. We got Mech Cadets number 6 of 6.
Mech Cadets number 6 of 6. This is published by Boom Studios. It's written by Greg Pak with illustrations by Takeshi Miyazawa, colors by Ian Herring, and letters by Simon Boland. So this is the last issue of this particular Mech Cadets series, right? It's number 6 of 6, and it does wrap up the immediate story. It brings things to a fairly satisfying conclusion, but leaves things on a cliffhanger that we kind of all saw coming, but we're still pretty surprised to see.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that and let Roddykat give his thoughts.
Oh yeah, it's kind of one of the things with this series. Like, all right, you get a couple of episodes of some, of not necessarily rhetoric, but sometimes you talk about it interspersed with some action, and then it ends up being, well, the last issue, which as Agent 76 says, completes this arc until the next one. Kind of gets us into place. There's some action. There's some things kind of being worked out to bring us to this point. But it's enough, at least I feel that way, that it makes you you can't wait for to see what's gonna what's the next thing to come about and or when, because I don't think it says in the back of the book, but the way Pac has been putting those and Crew's been putting these books out, I'm kind of wondering if he's already ahead of the game at this point, and it's probably just a matter of them putting it out in the next month or two. So I'm happy to see the story continue because it's actually pretty good. Talking Miyazawa's art, always still great. So there's nothing wrong there. It would almost be, if this was actually the end of this book, I would have been like, well, I'm sad to see it go, and I am kind of, but we know it's going to be back, or we feel fairly decently that it's going to be back, especially with the way it left off.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to put it, is that we have a relatively good amount of confidence that this book will continue in another form. It may not be called Mech Cadets, because remember, the original title of the series was Mech Cadet U, but because of the Netflix adaptation, they went to Mech Cadets. So they may continue with Mech Cadets, or they may, adjust the title.
Right. And the funny part about that is, I'm glad you brought that up, is because even in that particular original series, it was more about the group than just the one person, and it continues to be that way in this series, as well as the Netflix series, which I still need to go back and finish watching, actually. So that was the funny thing about the first series. The Mech that you was like, well, it ended up not being about him as much as everybody around him.
Right. Because like in the end, as you said, it ended up developing into more of a group book.
Right. Which doesn't take away from it, by the way. It's just like it's just kind of funny. It's like, well, it was about him originally, and look, I don't want to say he's taking a back seat, but because he's still there. But it's just like, well, the people around him are just kind of stepping up into,
filling out, roles. Becoming more than just supporting cast.
Right.
That's really what happened. They're becoming far more than just supporting cast.
Right, and it almost seemed like he is the supporting cast in a way.
To a certain extent. To a certain extent, it's definitely much more of an ensemble book in this form, because they call it now Mech Cadets.
Right. So good stuff if you are interested in it, and like I said, and if you've kind of been along for the ride. At some point, I'm sure we'll find out when the next arc of this happens, because I'm really waiting to see how that plays out.
Sure.
And our last book that we're going to talk about, at least
that we have in common,
is Spider-Woman #4.
Spider-Woman #4 is written by Steve Fox, with art by Carola Borelli, colors by Arif Prianto, and letters by VC's Joe Sabino. Guess what, folks? This is the last issue of the crossover with Gang War, and it wraps up how Gang War ties into Spider-Woman's latest run. I will say it makes sense that they brought Gang War in to mask a particular development, literally and figuratively. And we get a lot of exposition here and explanation as to why something makes more sense in the pages of Spider-Woman than it would in virtually any other book. Because the character's experience mirrors something that happened to Jessica Drew herself.
Right.
And that's something I was not familiar with, so I appreciated, that particular tie-in or kind of, continuing in those footsteps to create this new character. And I understood it. I'm still not a fan of it, because it's a little too wonky, too science fiction-y, but it's Marvel Comics after all, folks.
Actually, I gotta say that in my notes.
Oh, really?
In a way.
Gotcha. The bottom line, though, is, I was hesitant to say that this was going to continue past the Gang War series crossover, but it is. We're going right into issue 5. And we'll see, hopefully this series has some time to breathe and tell, and Fox has the time and the space to tell the story he wants to tell.
Right.
And off to Roddykat.
I was about to say, and I would hope that it goes farther than what this initial point brought up, which is continuing from Gang War. And yeah, I kind of agree with you about the whole, like, yeah, this we have seen books that start, and Spider-Woman is actually no stranger to it, actually, that start in the middle of an event, start from an event. Sometimes they go way farther than you would expect them to. Talking to me about you, Savage Avengers. And others that...
for Savage Avengers going on and being like, that's still going on?
Right. Right, and even into another volume, that was a trip.
Right.
But start in an event and sometimes lose steam coming out of it, or whatever the case may be, which is a sad state of affairs, especially with a character like Spider Woman or Silk, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, at least like Agent 70 said, like this makes sense as to why this character is in gang war in this particular way, and tied into the mission that she is on. Which brings me to the thing I'll leave off on. There was an explanation of that whole situation that Agent 70 kind of mentioned, that at first was like, okay, I halfway get it, but also that's not explaining everything, because some part of that doesn't make sense. And then you kind of keep reading and it's like, okay, well, there's the other part of that. Comics.
Right.
So, and as they just ever said, kind of science fiction-y, but also comics have kind of done weird things like this in itself. So the fact that this issue is kind of moving them past gang war, I'm hoping is going to be for the better, or end up being for the better, and hopefully continue past possibly getting to where you think Steve Fox is going with this, with Jess and another character that she's interacting with now. We shall see, though. And with that, I guess we can move on to rapid fire.
Yes, we will. Rapid fire review time.
Ain't got time to breathe.
First up is Nightwing number 111. It's written by Tom Taylor with art by Sammy Basri, inks by Vicente Cifuentes, colors by Adriano Lucas, and letters by Wes Abbott. So we have gotten past the crossover with the Beast World event, and we're moving back into the regular Nightwing story, as it were. But we have a kind of a guest appearance here by a character you cannot be surprised is going to make a guest appearance. That is none other than Batman. And we're going back to the Heartless story somewhat. There seems to be a bit of a fake out here, but all in all, it's a nice, to me, a change of pace, getting back to the Nightwing story that had been interrupted by the Beast World event and other stuff happening in the meantime. There was that whole pirate thing, dealing with Bia, and kind of revealing what her actual origin was, kind of circling back to that character. But it's nice that this issue was, like I said, kind of a return to form. Next up is Daredevil number 6. It's written by Saladin Ahmed with art by Aaron Cooter, colors by Jesus Bertov, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. Now, Roddykat and I, in our pre-production meeting, were talking about these early issues, like single-digit issues of like current runs. We're getting a lot of guest appearances in these early issues to kind of help promote sales. Daredevil is telling an excellent story, but it definitely is also using other Marvel superheroes, other Marvel characters to help promote sales with guest appearances. We've gotten She-Hulk, we've gotten who else have we gotten in this? We've definitely gotten She-Hulk. We've already seen an early appearance of Bullseye. Now we've gotten Doctor Strange in this issue, and the cliffhanger page at the end of the issue reveals who the guest appearance is going to be for the next issue. I'm really enjoying this, though. This is extremely well written. It's very Daredevil. They've taken Daredevil into a direction we all thought they never would. And it's just, there's a lot of exposition here, but at the same time moving the story forward. I definitely like this issue.
Right.
And I was just gonna finish my comments by saying that this is a candidate for Click of the Week for me. You were gonna say?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was actually Gaming Panda 79 in the chat said love the direction with Daredevil. The white outfit really threw him. Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, that threw me as well. It's not the first time, but it's hard to remember. I harken back to, I believe it's the Nascenti run from like the early '90s, when John Romita Jr. was the monthly penciler for the book. But I definitely remember the white, like a white costume Daredevil for a little bit. But yeah, ultimately this has been a blast. I really like how it's written. If much more so than, Cooter's been on and off this book art wise. He has not been he's the named penciler for the book, but I know that the last several issues have been done by, I don't want to say fill-in pencilers, but other pencilers. So, or other artists. So, Cooter, does a good job on this book, but I think Saladin Ahmed's writing really shines. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Annual #1. It's written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, former guests of the Comic Book Chronicles. Art is by Kev Walker. Colors are by Matt Hollingsworth, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. Guess what, folks? Guardians of the Galaxy Annual #1 wraps up Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing's story. It's a satisfying ending. And without spoiling things, it does change certain characters. It also puts certain characters back in the sandbox after Kelly and Lansing kind of changed a few, right? So there may be a few changes that are longer lasting, but for the most part, a lot of characters have been, I think the best word is restored. So I'll leave it at that and move on to Century #3. It's written by Jason Liu with art by Luigi Zagaria and David Cutler, colors by Arthur Hesley, and letters by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. This is apparently a 4-issue limited series, apparently. And we have reached a point where it seems like we know, there's no guarantees though, but it seems like we know who will be taking up the Century mantle. That's not guaranteed though. And to be honest, this issue actually explains how the events of the resurrection of Doctor Strange lead into this series. So if you're curious as to why Century stuff is happening, read this issue. And that's it for me.
I didn't want to have to, but I guess I will.
That's why I dropped that particular nugget for people like you who were like, oh, okay, maybe I'll take a look at it.
Yeah. Gaming Panda in the chat said, going back to Daredevil real quick, the story is so, I'm assuming going back to Daredevil, the story is so good, I don't think the cameos are needed.
Oh. I think they help, and obviously they help with sales.
Sure, always. Cool. All right, for my books, we start off with James Bond 007 #2. I can't remember the subtitle of the book. I forgot to pull it, but it's fine. Written by Garth Ennis, art by Rafa Labasco, colors by George Satil, and letters by Rob Steele. So I'll just quickly say that after a brush with public transportation gets James in the mood to take on a crew that was trying to take him out, he kind of has a debriefing with M that sets him up for a trip to space. Because if we've known anything, James Bond in his life has gone to space once or twice. Yeah, no.
Were you gonna say Bond in space?
No, I forgot to say that one.
You gotta be of a certain vintage to get that
obviously. One. Yes. I could have said that, but I'm saving that one for something in the news, let's just say, or something similar for something in the news. But yeah, this it's a pretty action, well, not action heavy, but it's a pretty Bond-like story, let's just say, minus the, vetting of beautiful women's part. But who's to say that's going to happen during the course of the story?
How can you leave that out? I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I mean, so if it's anything like, now granted, it's a different writer and different creative crew, there's probably going to be a scene that'll come up at some point. I don't know how, with where the end of this book, the end of this book is taking the character, but it's James Bond, anything could happen. And matter of fact, in the movies has happened. Now that I think about it. Next book, Cobra Commander, number 2 of 5, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Andrea Milana, colors by Annalisa Leone, and letters by Russ Wooten. So we find the commander in the swamps of what seems to be Florida. And this issue might be a suggestion that the commander is originally from Florida by something that was said by the person that is shadowing him, basically, from Cobra Law.
Cobra Commander, Florida man.
Kinda. So it's kind of funny. But you would have to read the issue to understand what brought that up. But if you know anything about the G.I. Joe universe and you know anything about the swamps, then you know that there's going to be a run-in with a certain rough around the edges, let's just say, group of, or at least whom we know in other media as allies of Cobra, but in this particular universe are not yet.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure they are the inspiration for our network's name.
I mean, kinda.
I'm pretty sure that's who you're referring to, right?
Yes, those folks that you were thinking about are attached to that. Yes. But unfortunately, they don't get into that.
Don't sing.
No, nowhere near. In fact, we don't even see the whole group. Actually, if you're watching the video version, you can see the cover for the issue, in which something like that kind of does actually happen. In a way, like there is a confrontation between the commander and part of this group. We also see a cameo by another, let's just say, a sibling of the leader of the group, but we don't see the actual leader of the group yet. But it seems like that's going to be a thing that might happen next issue if the commander can get out of a certain situation. So if you don't know about this really, really quickly, so this is part of the Energon universe that Skybound setting up with G.I. Joe and Transformers, and kind of rebooting the characters in a way. So they don't have the exact same origins as we would know them from, let's say, the Marvel books or the original cartoons. In fact, Cobra Commanders is kind of taking a little bit more from the movie in this particular case. And little changes here and there to that, actually, because from what I understand is not the case, and this issue is pretty much kind of bearing that out. So he has been sent out by Globulus of Cobra Law because he had a mission. The Cobra Commander had a mission to do, but obviously Cobra Commander is going to, kind of do some things for himself. It looks like he's on the hunt for some Energon because he got a hold of some he got a hold of a certain Cybertronian that he's learned some things from, and now it's kind of setting off to probably potentially start Cobra at some point. Who's to say? I feel like that's going to happen at the end of this miniseries. But yeah, it's been pretty good so far. Very much action. Little bit more. I don't want to say rougher, but definitely a little bit more adultish in the action, I would say, without being too graphic, than you would have in the Marvel book, or even the well, I can't say about the current because I heard the current Larry Hama book is kind of buck wild. So, but nevertheless, there is that, and it's still a pretty good read. Next up is Star Trek number 17. Written by some very much working fellas, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with Marcus Toe doing the art. Colors by Lee Luffridge, and you'll understand what I say about very much working because of what we've already said and some stuff in the news coming up. Colors by Lee Luffridge, like I said, and letters by Clayton Cowles. So, recent events pretty much have Starfleet on the bad side of a situation that is pretty much brewing into war thanks to the Romulans' shenanigans and the Zinkethi, as Cisco and crew had been sent to, try to sway them to the side of the to Starfleet's and the Federation's way of thinking, but the Romulans kind of got to him first, or got to him better, I should say. All the while, the planet, the Zinkethi home world, is pretty much rattling and rolling itself out of existence, but no one knows that except for Beverly Crusher and Scotty, who are pretty much damn near trapped underground. Meanwhile, there's a war almost brewing on the surface, and Harry, Kim, and another ensign kind of got into some stuff. So this, if you can see on the cover, you can almost kind of see what they got into. That is not making things better for what is going on here, and yeah, we're going to see how all that shakes out in the next issue. So it still continues to be a good read. I've been enjoying this book, but I guess that's probably not surprising if you know me. So next book is, we're going back into Gang War territory with Luke Cage, Gang War number 404, written by Rodney Barnes, art by Ramon Box, colors by Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. So, Agent 70 asked me before the show, how does this end? And I pretty much said what I'm going to say now. It pretty much just ends. So it starts out with a fight, with Alistair Smythe and a bunch of mechs, or and a bunch of robots that he's made, and Luke Cage in a mech. Just let that soak in. All the while, him and the rest of his crew are basically trying to defend New York because gang war is still going on, or at least their little piece of, they're not their little piece, but their section of New York, while Spider-Man is off doing the other stuff that gets brought up in the course of this issue. But after Luke's and crew's fight is over, like I said, the thing just kind of ends. They kind of mention about the anti-vigilante law, which is still in effect, that is going to get talked about, or is being talked about, I guess, as of this issue. But we don't get anything else outside of a passing reference to what is going on in the park with Spidey and the other crew. And like I said before this issue just ends. So, as Agent 70 probably did say before the show, yeah, Luke's probably going to end up back with the rest of the crew, with Spidey and the rest of the crew, in the next issue of Amazing Spider-Man. That being said, if you're watching the video version, you can see the cover where you see Spider-Man and Luke fighting together. That doesn't happen at all. Like I said, we only see a passing reference to what's going on elsewhere in this, but nothing in here. So there is that. Excuse me. And last book that I'm going to talk about is one that I skimmed before the show, which was amusing to me, and in some way Agent 70, is X-Force number 49, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Robert Gill, color artist Guru EFX, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. So the reason why this is amusing, because We have long been wondering how they're going to deal with this whole dark beast, evil beast situation. And as of last issue, a plan had been put in effect to counteract what is going on with they're calling them Beast Prime in this particular in this book, because that has been a long running beast. Has been an evil jerk face for the longest time. So how better do you fight an evil beast than to bring up a past clone of the bubbling blue bouncing beast? And that's what happens. That's what happened last issue. So kind of spoiler alert from that, which leads us into this issue where this new cloned beast finds out what's been going on since all the quote unquote years that he has been missing, and in true beast fashion, actually kind of does what a beast thing would do: get out and try to take care of it himself. Seems like. But he goes to seek out the help of a friend, and that is Wonder Man, whom, if you are a longtime Avengers fan, you will remember when they were besties back in the Avengers book, which is one of my favorite times of the Avengers book. I will tell it. So I was so the only reason why I read the last issue was to see how it plays into this book, of which is slightly annoying, because while we see Wonder Man and Beast here together again, we have current Simon Williams, Wonder Man, who is a pacifist and has been a pacifist for so long, and he says so every other 5 seconds in this issue. Like, yes, we get it. Which, to be fair, I think almost every writer that has written them in the past couple of years has done the exact same thing, where like, yes, I'm a pacifist. Like, yes, we get it. But still, you're useless now. Not useless, I shouldn't say that, but it's annoying.
I literally just started scrolling through this. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a hard read.
Yeah, well, not as hard, but yeah, that whole part where where you're, if you're in the middle of it right then, I was like, all right, Simon, you got to stop. You just got to stop. But X-Force, after just finding out, what happened to this new beast, is kind of on the trail, and Dark Prime Beast, whatever, is kind of on doing his thing also in this book. So we will see how that all shakes out, and I guess in the coming issues, if I decide to keep up. But I'm still, I had to check this book out because seeing Wonder Man and Beast back together again, or the Beast that I like, or that most people like, back together again, was the draw here. Even though it is a beast that is kind of weighed by the fact that, oh, like this is other me floating around that's doing some craziness, and he's probably doing some existential thinking more than he would have at the time that these two were teamed up together. So there is that, but still a read, I would say. I have to go back in. I'm definitely will be going back and reading it in full, because I kind of skimmed it, but I wanted to bring it up as a thing while we were talking about it. And that, folks, is it for me. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week.
Do you have yours? And is it probably Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yes, it's Ultimate Spider-Man #2, but Daredevil is a very close second because I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. I kind of figured that was the case, because like I said, it's kind of up there for me as well. So I'm not surprised by that at all, because it was a good read. It was a good fun read. Ultimate is definitely, actually, yeah, I know I already have Ultimate. If I actually probably have read X-Force and it ended up being something, something more than what it ended up being from me skimming it to it, X-Force might have been up there, but Ultimate Spider-Man is definitely up there. that Bond book was actually pretty good. I think leading into the next book, Star Trek, it was good, but I've always said that book's pretty good. So I think I'm actually going to go with Agent 70 on this one with Ultimate Spider-Man #2 and just kind of, cement that one.
Sounds good.
And with that, folks, we are going to go into the news, but first, an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Wink, the personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torrontés, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your taste and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink wines through CSPN. Do it today. Now we get into the news.
Actually, I have to apologize because apparently, I knew something was wrong. I missed out on a whole bunch of comments from one Mr. Von Gloom who joins us on YouTube.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not going to go back through all of these, but he does give a cold slither. You'll be joining us soon, so we appreciate you, good sir. A band of vipers, something. That's cute.
Exactly. Cartoon.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Cobra Commander in Florida makes perfect sense. Yeah, that is definitely true.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
It makes so much sense. Mech Cadets is back. Yeah, you should check it out if you it's ending this arc, but yeah, Mech Cadets been back for a minute. So, but I'll maybe come back to some of these other comments later. But yeah, if you're still with us out there, appreciate you for coming through. All right, cinematic news.
I wanted to say one thing before we moved into the news. It might have been something that you have in comic book news. I did not see. I did not check. But Spawn published its 350th issue this past week. Holy cow.
So I had that for next week because I had there's still a good bit of news that I didn't put in because we got a lot already. But
okay.
So, but yeah, I did have that on tap for next week.
All right, we'll talk about it because at the end of the day, I was shocked to see that. I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. So
yeah. All right, carry on.
Yeah. All right, cinematic news. Like I said, we start off with the Umbrella Academy's sets premiere date for the 4th and final series on Netflix. Let's see. The 4th and final season, will drop on August 8th. And that's pretty much that. I know there are people who enjoy that show, like Agent 70 here, but I have not yet to check it out. Next up.
All right. In an interview with Deadline, Madam Web's director gave them an explanation as to why the Spider Women, the other characters in the film, were not given origin stories. So, what's the reason? So, he basically says they thought it would be a bit greedy to do 4 origin stories. Okay.
And probably long unless you do them Spider-Verse style.
Yeah.
So, I guess. Yeah. Plus, given how it's been said that movie has done, I don't think it would have mattered.
No.
That's just me. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but don't know.
Yeah. So she says, it's S.J. Clarkson is the director, and she said it was probably too greedy to take on the task.
I admit I have a slight curiosity to see what that thing is about, but it ain't gonna be filled in no time soon. I will say. Van Gloom says Spawn is only at 350. Thought it would be much further since it's been out for ages. Yeah, but they took a lot of breaks. Some lengthy ones at that. And he says that Umbrella Academy is on his backlog. Yeah, same here. Next up, though, Marvel Studios swaps Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four's 2025 release dates. We talked about the casting last week, but we didn't talk about the fact that well, I know Agent 70 said so like after the show about this. Might have said something during the show, I can't remember. But yeah, Thunderbolts is taking the original Fantastic Four slot, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. Let's see. Yeah, Marvel Studios will look to turn the Fantastic Four look around next summer, and is already giving the reboot its vote of confidence with this prestigious July 2025 date, which, according to this article, yes, July 25th, 2025, and it's a slight push from the previous date of May 2nd, 2025. And it's bumped its previous. Okay, so yeah, Fantastic Four is the one that's bumping Thunderbolts.
Right.
So, and which is coming out on the aforementioned May 2nd, as opposed to originally. You would think the vote of confidence would have gone the other way, though. Like put Fantastic Four out in the May slot, and put Thunderbolts. But I see what they're going for here, because prime summer movie. Got it.
Right.
Next
up, so Mahershala Ali is still reportedly attached to star in Marvel Studios' Blade following some online rumors that dropped right after Valentine's Day that circulated the rumors that he may be considering exiting the Blade movie following a number of different setbacks. According to an insider, Ali is still set to star in the movie and reports that the script is just starting to round into shape and get to a place where he's comfortable moving forward. You know what? I choose patience, and we'll see where it goes.
Pretty much. Some motherfuckers are gonna continue to ice skate uphill. Yeah. Silk Spider Society TV series reportedly scraps writer's room. Like this is a report. This is not hardened. This is not confirmed news at this point. But Silk Spider Society is aimed to creatively refocus towards a male skewering audience. That's what this skewering audience. That's what this article says. An interesting development considering the fact that the series centers around young superhero Cindy Moon Silk. The report also states that Silk Spider Society has multiple episodes written for the writer strike, which led to the union threatening to sue Amazon when they did not revive the show's writer's room last fall. Again, according to the article. Again, this is another wait and see situation, and whether any of that is actually true or not. Next up.
Alrighty, a brand new set video from the production of Marvel Studios' Daredevil Born Again has apparently surfaced online, teasing the return of a fan favorite Marvel hero or anti-hero. So this was shared over on the Twitters. We won't call it. Well, X gonna tweet it to you. Anyway. It features a mysterious man in a black jacket. This is what the video does. And the jacket seems to bear the Punisher's signature white skull symbol. It's not clear that it's Bernthal, if it's Bernthal or John Bernthal, who played the Punisher on the Netflix series, but or a stunt double. But you know what? I kind of think we knew that this might happen.
Right. Like they seem to be kind of getting most if not all of the gang back together. So it was a matter of time and reason, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why Agent 70 chose to skip the one he was actually supposed to read.
Oh, I did skip that one. I apologize. Roddykat does it all the time. It's not just
you're not wrong. That's not true, but as on the times that I get to pick at you about it is always great. So apparently Nicolas Cage is reportedly in talks for a live action Spider-Man Noir series because, you know, as he says in the movie, we don't choose where we dance, we just dance, or whatever the hell he said in Spider-Verse. So, yeah, it was previously reported that Stephen Lightfoot, who apparently was the showrunner for The Punisher, actually, would act as executive producer and co-showrunner for the Prime Video's Spider-Man Noir TV series, alongside writer Oren Uziel. Oh yeah. It just said that, yeah, he was talking to some folks and there was an update about it potentially happening. Whether we see it or not, or I guess. Next up.
Alrighty, so Ian McDiarmid, the actor who plays Palpatine, defends Palpatine's satisfying quote-unquote Rise of Skywalker return.
Yes.
So, oh boy. So apparently, I can open the article because Roddykat didn't put enough in the summary for me to.
I feel like the summary was enough, but sure.
I gotta. Goodness. So, in an interview with Empire, McDiarmid explains why he supports Palpatine surprise, quote unquote, surprise clone reveal. Okay. He just says, yeah, Palpatine had a plan B, and it's perfectly in Palpatine's character, and thus his return to the Star Wars universe not only made sense, but it was, quote, satisfying, unquote.
I don't know about the satisfying part, but I feel like he's kind of right. Like, Palpatine seemed like the kind of dude who's like, well, I want to keep this all going. So, granted, the way it happened it is what it is, but that part at least makes sense.
Yeah.
And hey, if you want to hear Ian McDiarmid's Emperor Palpatine, maybe check out a certain currently running Star Wars animated show. Just saying, where the Emperor shows up. Alert. Next up, though, speaking of Star Wars, The Acolyte has a tentative release date of June 5th, 2024. Michael Abels has been tapped to compose the score for the series, and apparently Trinity, and I can't remember old girl's name from Mission Impossible, and Amandla Steinberg and Lee Jun Jae all will continue to be in the cast with Jodie Turner-Smith. So. Also, I will say this, I didn't put this in the lineup, but apparently Angela Bassett has been in talks with Star Wars folk about a possible something or other, from what I've seen. We don't know what or where or whether any of that was true, but I just saw that circling around the Twitters in the last couple of days. I'm like, all I'm gonna say is, look, if you're gonna get Angela Bassett to play a Star Wars character, don't waste her on a Jedi. You know, there's a couple of perfectly good characters like Rey Sloane that she would kill. So, you know, don't waste it on a Jedi. And I love me some Jedi. Don't get me wrong, we need more black Jedis, but I'm just saying, don't do that to her. She could be better than that. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, next up.
James Bond film series producer Barbara Broccoli provides an apparently discouraging update for fans of the popular spy thriller franchise as she addresses the speculation about whether a reboot is in the works. Per Deadline, Broccoli was speaking at a British Film Institute fellowship event when asked about the future for the James Bond franchise. Broccoli got straight to the point, saying, "There's nothing I can tell you about the next Bond film. There's nothing is happening yet." Okay.
Comic writer James Tynion IV launches multimedia production company Tiny Onion. which apparently, as this article made says, it's backed by seed investment from Lyrical Media, the New York, Los Angeles-based media company. Yada 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 for there, but apparently this multimedia production company will be working in publishing, film, television, and animation. So, cool. I'm sure some of the stuff he's working on right now is probably going to be adapted, I suspect. Next up.
All righty. Brandon Routh apparently could be taking flight in the red and blue Superman tights again. So he once played Superman in Superman Returns in 2006. That was his only feature film in the role. His version of Superman would apparently later return in the Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. I kind of remember that. I never watched it, but we probably talked about it. And that potential return, the upcoming potential returns of the role could happen, because apparently Mark Guggenheim, the executive producer of the Arrowverse, teased a sequel series to Superman Returns over on X. Gonna tweet it to you.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, we also saw him on Legends of Tomorrow for the length of time he was on. So yeah, sure. Hey, you want to know when Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom hits streaming services? Well, you don't have long to wait, because Tuesday, February 27th is when it's going to be on Max. So there you go. If you're interested in it. Von Gloom says Deadbeat Dad Superman. Is that one? Was he?
I think so.
Yeah, the Deadbeat. I don't think I've ever seen that movie, actually.
I saw that movie in the theaters. I was very sad to say. I treated a bunch of like younger family members to it, and I sat there like, oh, what a mistake.
Yes, and Von Gloom gives an eye roll to it. So I'm like, maybe they'll probably retcon some of that stuff, I would imagine. But yeah, if you want to see that new Aquaman movie, you wait a couple of days and it'll be on Max if you got access to it. You didn't miss much. Yeah, I guess I didn't. I don't know. It's out there. So I guess if I
wow, Lost Kingdom just later this week. Wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Next up.
All right, Mortal Kombat 2 will feature the iconic character Scorpion once more, and the actor who gave life to the fighter Hiroyuki Sanada will return for the sequel to play Scorpion again. Sanada confirmed as much recently during a press event for Shogun, the FX and Hulu TV show releasing this month, that he's also in. Okay. Mortal Kombat 2 does not yet have an official release date.
Yeah, they needed to, because that, from what I remembered about that first one, they didn't give the character nearly enough time, and so yeah, it needed. Yeah, as Von Gloom said, he had like 15 minutes. That's basically it. I'm like, they just wasted the. It's Scorpion. It's Mortal Kombat. How do you do that? But anyway, Von Gloom also said he took a date to see Superman, that Superman Returns movie. So that's, yeah, I don't know what to say on that one there, bruh.
Yeah.
The OG Ghostbusters aren't just fan service in Frozen Empire, according to the director. So talking with SFX Magazine, director Gil Keenan promises the fifth film that will do right by the original cast by having them be actual characters. Some legacy sequels according to this article, bring back the older stars just to collect a paycheck, which, let's be honest, Bill Murray will do that, or has done that. Maybe not for everything, but he has done that in the past. Anyway, but Keenan promises the veterans would be, quote, more fully fleshed out here. We had a duty to make those legendary characters integral to the story. Von Gloom asked, wonder how they got Murray to agree. Probably money.
Yeah.
Because he was, exactly. He was the biggest holdout for these things. So for this thing. So maybe there was something else to it, but probably a boatload of money. The man had gotten kind kind of cantankerous in his years. But he did Garfield, so you go figure. Anyway, next up.
Right. And when I read this story on my own, I was very much understanding.
Right.
So Godzilla -1's director, where was his name in this? Takashi Yamazaki does not want to reveal what the actual budget for the movie was, because in his words, well, we had, other projects would ask him to do the same or similar, have the same or similar success with under similar budget constraints.
Right.
And I absolutely understand that.
Right.
That makes all the sense in the world.
I felt the same way when I read it. I was like, yeah, you tell them how much this was, they're like I said, they're gonna expect that. And not every movie is going to be the same way. You can't do that, or you shouldn't do that. But these are execs who don't really know. Wasn't Murray canceled? I don't think so. I mean, he's probably said something stupid.
I think they tried. They tried to make. I think they tried to.
I mean, I know he's probably said some real dumb stuff in the past, I'm sure, but I don't know if that actually stuck or not. So, next up though, I think. Oh no, we're still on the Godzilla corner. Godzilla -1 shares honest opinion about the MonsterVerse quote Hollywood interpretation, and well, he says he calls the franchise, which includes Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong, very interesting use of the IP. Excuse me. He explains that some of the movies from the original Japanese Godzilla franchise had a similar tone to the MonsterVerse. So he also he says they're a fun version of what Godzilla can be, according to the summary.
I agree. Like, it's God. I see the trailers for the new one. I'm like, all right, so now we're getting a little crazy here.
A little bit.
But they're fun popcorn movies. You get that fun, crazy action. But as long as we have something like Godzilla -1, where it's treated with like a little bit more reverence, I'm okay. Like we went a long time without something like -1, but now I'm like, you know what? There's balance in the force again.
I was about to say, no offense, because I know you love your Godzilla movies. It's a monster movie at its core, so like it is the monster movie. Yes, don't get me wrong, but it's like reverence. That was kind of funny what you said. But I wanted to actually ask is, did you watch Shin Godzilla?
Yeah, I watched that in the theaters too when that came out.
Oh, okay. Because I know we had talked about it being on Crunchyroll. Didn't know if you had.
I actually rewatched it since we talked about it coming out on Crunchyroll. I just let it play, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this. This is so silly."
Right. So
because the some Godzilla movies are about obviously the horrors of nuclear power and not preserving the environment. Right. Shin Godzilla is about the terrors of bureaucracy.
Oh, so real life, great.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly, if you watch it, knowing that going in, you're like, oh, it's so real. I remember watching in the theater being like, oh my God, this is too real.
Yeah, and not surprising. Like, not surprising in that respect. Because that's all I'm saying about that. Von Gloom, it is on Crunchyroll. So if you got Crunchyroll, Shin Godzilla's out there for you.
Yep.
Next up, speaking of, we're closing in on, we're not there yet, but Across the Spider-Verse and Blue Eye Samurai lead 2024 Annie Awards, not to be confused with the Skywalker. So yeah, it says here that the 51st annual Annie Awards, the aforementioned two movies, or movie and show, did pretty well. Actually, according to looks like in some of these things, there's some of these categories. So let's see. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2 awards also, with best character action. Best character animation live action. There you go, and something else. So Elemental also won, but let's see. It says here that Blue Eye Samurai won one. Let's see. Best effects, best character animation. The Boy and the Heron also won for best character animation feature. Blue Eye Samurai won for TV media. Guardians of the Galaxy live action. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 won best character animation for video games. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, just a couple of the relevant ones. Best direction, Star Wars Visions. In the best direction feature, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Best music, Spider-Man. Best production design, Spider-Man. Best editorial, Spider-Man. And yeah, and so far and so forth. Blue Eye Samurai also pretty much got a good bit of got a good, even let's see, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur got a couple. One for best actor, best voice acting with Diamond White, the lead character. So congrats to that. And best storytelling. Not best storytelling. Best storyboarding, excuse me. But yeah. Good stuff. Next up though, we get into, well, no, we're not. Hush. Next.
That's funny. Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender cast talk M. Night Shyamalan movies. So obviously that is a very big elephant in the room. So this is, they're referring to the 2010 M. Night Shyamalan film. So it was lampooned by critics and audiences. So apparently it did not bomb at the box office when it was all said and done. It made about $319 million worldwide. That's interesting. Okay. So what did they say about the movie?
Like they kind of, from what I saw in the comments in here, they were like kind of talking around it.
Okay.
Seems as though.
Yeah, so it basically just said, it failed to live up to its source material, but he understands some of the problems with it.
Right. That was from I was about to call him Opa. Yes. I was about to call him that. Paul Sun Hyung Lee. Thank you. I couldn't remember his name. Who I have not heard great things about this one either, though. Like I heard it's nicely well produced, but still kind of falls short in a way. But I feel like a live action version of anything like this is not going to sit well with a lot of people. I haven't seen it for myself, but I do plan on watching it at some point. So it's out there. Von Gloom says, so Shin Godzilla, the innate and destructive arsehole management, I guess. I don't know. I've not seen it. So
what was that? Say again?
So Shin Godzilla is the innate and destructive arsehole management. What Von Gloom was asking.
Kind of. Honestly, just it's an experience watching it because you're just like, it's definitely a departure from like kind of the classic Godzilla origin story. -1 is kind of a return to the classic origin story, but with a twist on how they fight Godzilla.
Right. Next up though. I'll take it. Well, I guess it's mine anyway. Serena Williams enters the Avatar state in Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender promo. Which it was nice. It was cool. But yeah, hey, that the Last Airbender thing is out there as of a couple of days of this recording. So hey, you can check it out at your leisure. Next up.
The Boy and the Heron was originally billed as Hayao Miyazaki's final film, but this wasn't the first time that the legendary anime director was slated to step away from the anime game. In fact, Miyazaki has since decided to end his retirement plans, reinvigorated by the recent film, and stating that he had more ideas on his mind for the future. In a new interview, Ghibli producer Toshio Suzuki discussed why Miyazaki decided to make his latest film and whether or not he'll truly not retire. So in chatting with the Hollywood Reporter, Suzuki stated that Miyazaki was embarrassed about coming out of retirement. Okay.
I halfway kind of wonder, and this is just me, if it has anything to do with like, well, my son's putting shit out there, so I need to come back and do it right.
Yeah, right. So are we in anime corner now?
We are in anime.
Mute.
That sound is going to come in quite handy later on in the show. Miyazaki is the king of Willy, won't he? Yeah. But hey, fans are just going gaga regardless. So you could probably do an anime of somebody reading a phone book and people will flock to it. Have you just checked out Ninja Kamui? Not yet, but I plan to. I still need to get through Blue Eye Samurai, actually. Toyota, of all places, announces a new anime series called Grip. As first reported, exactly, that was the exact amount of silence that it needed.
That's funny. I was thinking of Ninja Kamui. Like I saw that pop up. It's on Max, right?
Is it? Or is it on Max or it's on Netflix, I thought. I'm not sure.
I think it's on Max. I flipped on Max earlier, and I thought I saw it pop up as like a new edition. So
you probably did. I don't know, but yeah, I've seen people talking about it, but I have not checked it out myself. So yeah, as first reported by Variety, Grip is a new 5 episode series that will be releasing weekly on February 26th, actually, so in a couple of days, with Toyota, highlighting the sport of Gazoo Racing in particular, which features a lot of Toyota brands. There you go. This new anime series is produced by Intertrend and teases both heart-pounding action, quote unquote, and adrenaline-fueled races, according to its synopsis. This feels like one of those Marvel books where there's like, hey, here's a Marvel book with this character, but it just so happens to have this product placement of a car or something in it. So,
why is it called Gazoo Racing? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gazoo Racing gets its name from the Japanese word gazo or gazo, meaning picture or image, and gareji, meaning garage. When applied to the motorsport scene, our engineers picture individual and unique cars and garages, and hence the term Gazoo Racing. Okay, that doesn't help me.
No, it doesn't, and I have not watched this this trailer, but I think Von Gloom kind of says it. So Toyota is rebranding Initial D. That's what it kind of sounds like. But I guess I haven't seen this trailer, so I don't know. I guess it was bound to happen that one of these folks was gonna do something like that. So I don't know. We'll find out. Somebody will find out in a couple of days. I still want to see Redline, which has nothing to do with Toyota, but I hear good things. But also that I think the company that did that went out of business or got disassembled, I guess, whatever the case may be. Anyway, next up,
Black Butler is coming back for a new season of episodes years after the original run came to an end, and Black Butler Public School Arc has finally set a release date for its 2024 return with a new trailer. Let's see here. It's been 10 years since Black Butler had a full TV anime series. Okay. Looking for, gotta open this as I look for a date.
been 1 week since you elected me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unfamiliar with this particular anime.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but
let's see. So the release date, looking for the date, looking for the date. Where? In the spring sometime. Okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I'm just looking for a date and I don't see it in the article. Oh wait, April 13th in Japan. Crunchyroll has previously announced that they have licensed the new anime for streaming release outside of Japan when it hits. Okay, so soon after April 13th. Soon, yeah, like so, either on or after April 13th.
Yeah, I was about to say probably the 14th, 15th, whenever they get the subs done. So
right.
Redline is like Wacky Races, but as an anime, that makes me interested. Jeffrey from The Fresh Prince got an anime. You so silly. All right.
Oh my god.
That was pretty good, Von Gloom. That was pretty good.
Oh my god.
Anyway, to keep on going. Haikyuu creator wants everyone to see the new animes.
Wait a second. If we're gonna have a Haikyuu story,
Yeah, I thought you were still collecting yourself from the last that last.
Black.
But yes,
I am, because
yeah.
all I can see in the anime is when Jeffrey's doing Tennyson, cannons to the left of them, cannons to the right of them.
Well, I was about to say it depends on which version, because if they go with the Bel-Air version, now Jeffrey has seen some bodies, since he knows where the bodies are buried. So,
Yeah.
or it seems to be the case. Yeah, I know, but I mean, they could do a mix of the two, so who's to say that couldn't happen?
That's a good one.
Yeah. But yeah, Haikyuu creator wants everyone to see the anime's new movie. Because I heard it did pretty well in Japan.
Yeah.
Since it's released last week, and still no date when it's coming here to the States.
Yeah. We need it.
Well, Agent 7 definitely needs it, so
I need it.
So it's got to be fairly soon, right? It's probably in the next month or two. It's got to be. But we'll find out. Like I said, we will know when y'all will know, and vice versa. Next up.
New Go-Go Loser Ranger anime's second video reveals more staff, opening song, and an April 7th debut. Okay, so this is going to premiere on April 7th, and new episodes will air every Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that one, but I just saw that. It seems interesting. Great Pretender Razbluito is coming to Crunchyroll. In fact, it's probably already out there as of this recording. Because this article was from the 21st, and it's the 24th. So, or it's the 23rd when we started recording still. I've heard some things about Great Pretender. It seemed like it was all right, and apparently it's on Netflix, the original 23 episode series. So this seems to be a movie from that. Yeah, the anime film is on Crunchyroll as of this recording. So if you like the show, the movie's out there for you. Next up.
So this is interesting because I forgot about this. But this article does cover this. Spy X Family Code White movie exceeds 6 billion yen. And it also adds that the film will be distributed internationally in April 2024. I already told Roddykat about this because, believe it or not, at the Demon Slayer premiere, they dropped a trailer for Code White and dropped the April date for its opening. So in the 59 days since Code White's release in Japan, the film has attracted 4.4 million viewers in Japan and grossed over 6 billion yen at the box office. And it's slowly being released in international territories starting in April. And April 19th is when it drops in the US of A, but throughout April is when it's dropping around the world.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So I'm wondering if maybe it's a 4-month window. Maybe we'll get Haikyuu in about 4 months, which puts us around June.
But I'm thinking that's if it stays to what a normal schedule would be.
Yeah, we gotta fix that replay.
Yeah, I gotta figure out why that's going on. Why that static is going on. That's weird. Von Gloom says it's so behind in Spy Family. I am too, so you're not alone. Mob Psycho 100 teases a special Sanrio collab, which that's weird. This is see.
Wait, is there spillover?
No, everything's on the front.
Where's I don't see it.
You don't see what?
The story that you just talked about.
Oh, keep going down. It's manga. Basically manga.
Oh, manga. Oh,
yeah.
So we're transitioning. That's what I missed. My bad.
It's okay.
My bad. So just gotta get us a transition.
I'm saving that other news for next week. But yeah, so apparently Mob Psycho 100 and Sanryu is going to collab somehow, some way. I don't know what Mob and Hello Kitty have in common, but I guess we're going to find out from whatever that ends up being. Next up,
into the comic book news.
Mm-hmm.
Following the announcement of 6 Blood Hunt spin-off limited series, Marvel gave us 2 more 3-issue tie-ins and the announcement of 7 Blood Hunt tie-in arcs to current ongoing titles. This is all part of the solicitations for that surround the Blood Hunt event. And let's see here. Does this article talk about the total number? Because there are articles out there that talk about the total number.
The solicitations,
15, something like that.
Yeah, the solicitations for May 2024 are out there, folks. So if you are, curious about what's going to happen that month with your favorite comics, hey, you can check that out as I scroll through some of the images from the solicits.
Mm-hmm.
Buckle up, folks. Blood Hunt is a coming. Oh, that's what Game Panda was talking about, but we actually knew that, so never mind. I forgot to put that in the lineup. That'll be for next week. Yeah, Blood Hunt all the time. Even Dracula's getting a Blood Hunt miniseries. Union Jack. Okay, a lot of stuff basically. So we won't belabor that too much. Next up though, I probably should skip this one, but Doctor Strange is here for Matt Murdock's confession and a preview of Daredevil 6, which Agent 70 talked about earlier, I believe.
Right, it's out this week. So,
Yes.
I talked about Doctor Strange being... Actually, yeah, I did mention that Doctor Strange was the guest appearance in this issue.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take this next one. But yeah, we talked about this before the show. Marvel ongoing cosmic reimagining G.O.D.S series, according to this article, will end in May 2024. So the solicitations does not say anything to that fact, but according to this article, they say that they have this site has confirmed with Marvel that the series will in fact end with issue number 8 in May. And the article kind of goes on about them asking about the series length, to which I guess they and Tom Brevoort said in the newsletter that it's driven by sales and X, Y, and Z. So if the fans still want it, it's going to continue, I guess, kind of situation. And I guess what led this article to think that it is the end, I guess the title of issue 8 is called To All Things an Ending. Also. So I guess that could be saying something. We don't know. But if the book didn't sell all that well, that could also be the reason why it's not it's going to end. Which sad state of affairs, but it's happening a little bit more. Will Jubilee become a vampire again? Who's to know? But that's been a question that people have been asking. Also, Von Gloom asked if Greg Land is back. So that is a dirty set of words around with certain people on this panel.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing, Von Gloom. You can say that a lot of books. Von Gloom says, "Wonder if G.O.D.S would have been better if Hickman got more time to cook." That's just it. You can say that about a few, half a dozen number of books that don't get a chance to cook. But
right. What's interesting about that article, it references an interview that he gave where he said he wrote an 8-issue series, an 8-issue opening arc.
Right.
And that's exactly what he's going to get.
Right.
So, and obviously, he went into it thinking, all right, let me tell this story. And if there are sales, I'll write more. But if not, I have the 8-issue
Right.
series. So
presumably this is going to do what he wanted to do initially. And as we have discussed in the past, like he's probably wrote his out already.
right.
So,
Right.
and also
And
go ahead.
what I was going to say though, much like what we were talking about earlier with other Marvel writers, sometimes they go back and revisit characters that may have, made some appearances before, but have kind of sat on the sidelines for a little bit.
Right.
We're talking Al Ewing, Jed McKay, and now we're dealing with Blood Hunt, and I didn't realize that McKay's writing all of this, so or a lot of this. And I'm assuming a lot of the McKay characters are going to see action in Blood Hunt.
That's probably a good safe bet. Von Gloom asked, does his reimagining of the Marvel cosmology going to stick? We don't know. G.O.D.S feels self-contained and isolated. I think that was the initial plan, and it probably is. Right. Some of it's probably going to stick, but to what extent, we don't know.
Exactly. How much of it is integrated into other stories is another thing.
Right.
Right. We'll see how well other creators adapt what Hickman has created into what they're doing.
Right. Well, because like I said, that was supposed to be the plan. So, yeah, just a matter of seeing. Next up, though. So, wait, I thought
Oh, this is me, right?
Yeah.
Blood Hunt is set to tie into. Oh no, wait, I did the G.O.D.S. Yeah, but we both talked about the G.O.D.S one. So
yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
It's all right. I'll deal with this. So Blood Hunt is set to tie into 7 ongoing series. We more stuff in May, and this is going from May through July. Oh my God.
So we were talking about this earlier before the show. It was like, yeah, this thing was going to hit a lot more books than Gang War did, because Gang War was pretty much in the Spidey corner. Well,
right.
Out of the books that, according to this series, that this is going to be pretty much, with the exception of, I can safely say, with the exception of one book that, or maybe 2 books that I know we both were reading. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 books. 5 of them are going to be Blood Hunt related.
Yeah, line wide, basically.
Kinda, yes, because we got if you're watching the video version, you can see Spider-Man, Amazing Avengers, Doctor Strange, Fantastic Four, Miles Morales, Moon Knight, and Venom. Oddly enough, no, not Blade. So
I'm assuming Blade is front and center in the miniseries.
I would like to believe so, especially with what's going on in his book.
Yeah.
So I would think so, but also fairly recent issues of Miles Morales make sense as to why Miles is going to be in it.
Right.
So was Gang War good? We're still trying to determine that. It had some moments in it.
Right.
That's pretty much all we can say. It's not over yet, so it's been all right. Steve Orlando returns with the Scarlet Witch series. So apparently that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver is a mini series, which I wasn't sure if that was the case or not. But Scarlet Witch will be back in her own series this coming June, I believe. There's the summer, but I thought I saw a date. Yes, June 12th. So Steve Orlando is going to continue to write that book. Looks like with a different artist. But yeah, so yeah, that Scarlet Witch book is coming back. So cool. Next up.
Mystique and Destiny's Very Special Days revealed in X-Men The Wedding Special. This is a one-shot Marvel Voices Pride one-shot. Okay. This is set to come out May?
Yep. 5/29.
Yeah, May 29th. Okay, there it is.
Mm-hmm. Is it the next story? No, it's the next one after that. But Deadpool and Wolverine face World War III in May 2024. because of course they have a movie coming out together. So of course to put them together in a book. Daredevil, Daredevil. Deadpool and Wolverine World War III is a collaboration between veteran Deadpool scribe Joe Kelly and frequent Wolverine artist Adam Kubert. You can see the cover for issue number 1 if you're watching the video version, and the synopsis is also in the show notes. Next up.
Alrighty, so Marvel's new Ultimate Universe is introducing its own Ultimate X-Men. And apparently, and so far there have been 2 announced heroes. One of them is Armor, the other one is a character named Maystorm. So this is definitely going in a different direction than previous iterations of the Ultimate X-Men. So, Peach Momoko is at the helm of this, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, the thing that I was kind of curious about is how they're going to integrate with the rest of the Ultimate Universe, or should they? So we'll see. Next up, though, Marvel cancels all of X-Men comics ahead of upcoming relaunch, which probably should not be that big of a surprise, I guess. Says according to the solicits, which show that every current, according to this article anyway, show that every current X-Men series is concluding. Wolverine will go out at number 50 and finish the Sabretooth War. Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of X, X-Men, X-Men Forever, Cable, which I've just started, and Invincible Iron Man, which I can't say I ever considered that a X title, but it is related now. So will wrap up in May, according to this article. Marvel is billing May as the penultimate month of the Kliqs age, as there are still unrevealed plans for a grand finale in June ahead of whatever comes next, which we know X-Men is going to start back up. I just used the list. X-Men, I believe, is going to start back up in July.
Right.
Next up.
Alrighty, so for fans of Kazar and Zabu, Hasbro unveiled Marvel Legends' new line on a fan stream, and it's an interesting wave, and that is putting it mildly. It is so just all over the place, but it's interesting for the people who want to build Zabu, because he's the Build-A-Figure, right? And it's wild because it's Kazar, Icarus, comic book Icarus, Red Widow, Cable, like from Marvel vs. Capcom, Wolvesbane, which is probably the one character I really want to get from this, and Black Winter, the Black Winter Thor, basically. So it's all like just like a mishmash wave. It's very interesting.
Oh God, Superior Iron Man.
Yeah, Superior Iron Man's also in this, but he's not. But because it's an Iron Man, they didn't put a Build-A-Figure part in there also.
Also, I love your touchstone for Cable was MVC.
But no, but that's the stuff. That's the. I think they talked about it in the fan stream, in the stream itself. I think that came up.
Did they? Okay.
That it's Marvel vs. Capcom. It's basically the version that you see in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Anything sticks out for you for a get?
Wolvesbane.
Yes. Complete the New Mutants. Yes.
Yeah, Wolvesbane. You want to pick up Wolvesbane. I mean, we have a Wolvesbane. This is more an X Factor Wolvesbane. We have a Wolvesbane head that goes on that female figure,
right?
The female Mutants figure that was like Danny and Mirage. So we already have a Wolvesbane, but I think this is more of an X Factor Wolvesbane. Wolvesbane is probably the one,
right?
I mean, Kazar's cool, but then you kind of want to build Zabu,
Yeah. It's kind of a hand-to-hand thing with that one.
Right. And Icarus, I mean, we don't have that many like comic Eternals right now.
Right.
I honestly would rather pick. I'd rather build comics and humans. We already have Black Bolt, Medusa, Karnak. I still have to pick up that Karnak.
So Yeah, we got 90 Cersei, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Next up.
There was something I was gonna say about this, but it's irrelevant. That is a wild list. Hasbro Marvel Legends series, Fantastic Four Wolverine and Spider-Man 2-pack. So yeah. Let's see, it's out there. Oh wait, there's set meant to go along with the Franklin and Valeria 2-pack. But there's also the Wolverine and Spider-Man 2-pack, which looks both going to retail for $51.99. So if you're looking to complete your blue suited Fantastic Four and extended, extended family, here you go. They're doing it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, technically, I guess you could use the pre-existing Ghost Rider, and then what? Grey Hulk.
Right. Well, no, but this is a more modern appearance.
Yeah, I
with the
know, but
Yeah. I don't remember them. I don't remember if they all put on those costumes or not.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they did, but I don't remember either. So
All right. Next up.
either way, we'll say would be interesting. Von Gloom says would be interesting if Emma stays with Tony post Krakoa. I've said the same thing. I don't know if it's going to happen. Next up, though.
No, that would be interesting to see how that all plays out. Mondo X-Men, the animated series Rogue Limited Edition 1/6 scale figure is announced. It actually released Tuesday, February 20th at 12 noon on mondoshop.com with a suggested retail price of $235 for the limited edition and $210 for the regular edition. So I'm not that familiar with these Mondo figures, but it's a 1/6 scale figure, so it does scale right along with the Marvel Legends. But this is definitely a much higher quality. Interestingly, they do include a head for from X-Men Evolution.
Yeah, I saw somebody going crazy over that. I'm like, I've never seen X-Men Evolution. And as Von Gloom asked, I asked the same thing. Why is the Evolution head there?
Right. With this costume. This
Right.
is the Jim Lee era X-Men costume. So it's very
Right.
weird.
So somebody was really stoked about that from what I saw online. I'm like, oh, I guess. Sure. Yeah, Mondo, I know Mondo is kind of has her hands into a lot of stuff. So I'm not sure if if it's the Hot Toys level of quality, but I know they have their hands in a lot of stuff. I think it's the same company doing.
Oh, I apologize.
that?
The 1/6 is not the same as Marvel Legends. This actually stands 11.75 inches high.
Oh, there you go.
So it's much bigger. Right.
Right.
So it's closer to Hot Toys.
She's still. So I know people have been tripping because apparently people were looking at that X-Men 97 trailer and was like, Rogue doesn't have her ass. They took her ass.
Oh no.
And I think this figure is also indicative of that also. So that's been kind of very funny. And people's reactions to that. And apparently, according to somebody in this article, it's sold out. Anyway, the
deluxe version sold out.
Yeah. Von Gloom also said it would be cool to see Ghost Rider in the FF uniform. Yeah, I assume that would be one that's coming. Disney and Epic Games to create expansive and open games entertainment universe connected to Fortnite. I realistically should not have put this in here because none of that sounds anything good to you, but y'all need to be warned about the onslaught of Fortnite being the all game. So
okay,
yeah, it's a thing. If you're not a gamer like an Agent 70, you're not, it doesn't matter to you. But yeah, gamers know Fortnite is a thing. Either you're playing it or you're hating on it for legitimate reasons. So that's the thing. Next up.
According to a new report from Insider Gaming, Respawn, the EA studio behind Apex Legends and Star Wars games like Jedi Survivor, is working on a first-person game that will put players in the role of an unspecified Mandalorian bounty hunter. Okay. So there are not a lot of details on the game, but reportedly it will be fast-paced with a big focus on action, and that it will not be an open world experience. Okay.
That almost sounded like the Scrap 1313 game that was supposed to be a thing some years ago. Respawn is the folks that did not know does Apex Legends, which is also another big game, and they've also done, as Agent Sam said, the Jedi Survivor games, and those games are reportedly good. I haven't played either one of them yet, but you kind of wonder, is it going to be the Mando or just a Mando? Obviously, it's Star Wars. You can only be one or the other. You could be a Mandalorian. I guess in this game you will be. So, like I said, it's just a matter of, are you going to be the one or two known ones, or one of the three known ones, or are you just going to be some other Mandalorian, which they will probably be prone to do. Now that I think about it. Next up, though, I'm going to take these next two because I know you have no interest in this either way. So for those who play Disney Lorcana, guess what? They're adding an Uncle Scrooge card in the next expansion. And along with that, we have, the next article is about details of the next expansion, which is called Into the Inklands, and a review of the set and the starter decks, if you are so inclined. Actually, it's not just Uncle Scrooge. Apparently, I'm seeing Webigail in here, so I'm imagining Huey, Dewey, Louie are also probably going to. Yep, there sure are. There's a Huey card and a Louie card. I don't see Dewey. Oh no, there's a Dewey card there. So yep, DuckTales represented. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty. Avatar: The Last Airbender is getting a multiplayer fighting game. Okay.
Sure.
As reported, Maximum Entertainment announced it had entered a partnership with Paramount during its 2024 roadmap, revealing an open beta for this game would be released in 2025. Okay.
I mean, hey, look, Naruto's got one, Demon Slayer's got one. I think there's even one for Bleach out there, I'm pretty sure. So sure, why not a fighting game in the Avatar universe? Which, by the way, side note, there's an Invincible Idol game out there on mobile games. It's pretty good, if you're interested in that, or if anybody's interested in that. So it just came out a few days ago, and it's kind of low impact, but it does kill your battery if you let it. So, Von Gloom said, wouldn't mind random Mando that I can customize. Yeah, but they're probably not going to do that because they're going to probably tie it into the Star Wars canon at large as the moment, because I think they're even trying to do that with the Jedi Survivor games, because some stuff has actually creeped into live action and animated stuff. So yeah, the chances of it being a customizable rando is probably lessened, but who's to say? Next up, though.
Let's see here. You did the Terminator survival game, right?
No, that's the one. That's yours.
Oh. Open world Terminator survival game is finally set for reveal. Publisher Nacon is finally ready to show it later this month. Has this already happened? Oh, so it's Nacon Connect, or set for February 29th. Features 30 minutes of new videos showing off the likes of Greedfall 2, The Dying World, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, Raven's Watch, Crown Wars, The Black Prince, and the new Terminator game, which was initially announced back in 2022.
Yeah. Hopefully that Terminator game doesn't suck, I guess. But also, it's a survival game. That part has to be weird, a little leery, but sure. Next up, though, there's a Pac-Man board game coming. Let's see. Hatchet Board Games will release Curador. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but Curador Pac-Man, a board game by Gatchaman, into retail June 2024. It's a limited edition, designed by Mirko Marchese, and it was first released apparently in 1997. Of course, the players assume the roles of Pac-Man and the Ghosts, and yeah, they do the Pac-Man thing, looks like. It's 2 to 5 players, so if that is of interest to you, hey, check it out in June. Next up.
All right. Space Ghost gets his first solo comic in almost 20 years this summer, and it's been announced as part of a new line of cartoon-based licensed comics by Dynamite, following the recently released Thundercats #1. Written by David Pepose with art from Jonathan Lau, Space Ghost was announced in the back of Dynamite's Thundercats #1.
Oh, you mean
There it is.
I wanted this. I've been wanting this to happen since that whole DC thing that they had a few years back, where they had all the Hanna-Barbera characters doing an event. I think it was called Future State or something around that. Well, maybe not Future State, but there is a Future State, but it probably was knowing DC because they do some craziness. But regardless, I've been wondering when they with all these other licenses coming about, when is there going to be a Space Ghost comic? And here we go. So
May 2024.
So looking forward to that. But also, speaking of Pepos, I believe he was the last one writing Savage Adventures, so that's funny. Yeah, I don't. There's nothing else really to say about that. But that. Next up, though, Thundercats 2 is going to debut a new character. Her name is Calica. And yes, she's a calico cat. If you're watching the video version, you can see the concept art for her, or design sheet. Excuse me, not concept art. Will Gleep the Space Monkey be there? Probably Jan and Jason Gleep will all be there. And I wonder if there's going to be a Team Force show up. The Team Force shows up. We don't know. But that was actually going back to that real quick. I was kind of wondering because, like, well, one, Space Ghost is a Hanna-Barbera product, which is owned by Warner Brothers. Why isn't DC doing this?
They're just licensing it.
Yeah, which again, I think I said this when we first found out of some of these other, like Thundercats is the same boat. Oh, that's weird, but hopefully somebody Dynamite will do right. Hopefully, but yeah. So Thundercats 2, which is probably due out relatively soon, actually. May. Never mind, that's not relatively soon. Dang, why? Hang on. It's February. It just came out. Why is it? Anyway, don't worry. So she has tricolor fur pattern, is distinctive black high patch around one eye. The new hero will be found amongst the wreckage of a mutant ship where she was a prisoner. I guess spoiler alert, but she will also be established as a potential love interest for the Thundercats leader Lionel, which, if you think about it, was not a thing back in the day. So next up.
Alrighty. Multiverses are all the rage these days, so apparently the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are getting in on that too. IGN exclusively revealed a big Turtleverse crossover happening in the pages of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures. This kicks off in issue number 12. So this crossover happens when the classic 1987 animated Turtles butt shells with the reality warping villain Mr. Og, as seen on this website. The animated Turtles will be confronted with heroes from the various other animated and comic book TMNT projects. Honestly, that makes sense. There's so many different versions of the Turtles that doing a multiverse story with all of them just makes sense.
And I believe, well, yes, one, that the character Mr. Og is pretty much a Mitsuplex-esque character who has shown up in the pages of that book previously, as I've talked about. But also, I believe the current animated series also did a crossover of a couple of sets of turtle iterations. So this is the thing that's been going on definitely for a while. So yeah, we'll talk about that book when it comes up. Next up, though, A classic TMNT hero is about to make a major heartbreaking comeback. And that turtle is called Ninjara, a former ally and love interest of Raphael. According to this article summary, may just be what the turtles need. There's an upcoming storyline that will likely feature Ninjara as a formidable foe or potentially join forces with the turtles in their battle against new foes. And I guess this is a spoiler for Teenage Mutant Ninja 147, which is on sale. So, yeah, I guess Sophie Campbell's gonna go out with a thing. The 2000 series did a crossover with the 87 series. Yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking of. And Von Glom also says, how many X's does Raphael have? Man, I don't even know. I haven't been keeping up with none of this stuff. Next up, though.
All right, so you just did the heartbreaking comeback story, right?
Yes.
IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic series will return from its break in May with exciting new designs for the upcoming arc. So, in an exclusive to CBR, new information for Sonic the Hedgehog number 69 is provided, along with 3 covers that give fans a glimpse of what's to come. Okay.
Sure. Somebody's kids are happy for that.
Right.
Archie must purge a demon-infested Riverdale in new event series Archie Comics Judgment Day. As he walks with the shadow of death, 16 men under that mess. Okay, whatever. Shout out to Method Man. But Judgment Day places Archie Andrews squarely at the center, acting as our hero, but with the power to choose who lives and who dies. Can he truly remain a hero through and through? Pondered Archie Comics' Jesse Goldwater in a statement. This miniseries raises the stakes more than any title that we've ever done before. You mean even the one where they killed off Archie? Okay. The entire fate of the world is in Archie's hands. So I guess this is instead of him being killed, he's killing everyone, or can. It also sounds like Death Note, weirdly enough, but I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with what's going on with Archie Comics. That Archie is in everything. Yeah, I mean, hey, they've been doing a lot with little. So next up.
So
great.
Joanna Tan, the elusive Gun Honey, returns this year in a new action-packed series. Gun Honey Collision Course is written by Charles Ardai with art by the talented Ang Hor Kang. Gun Honey Collision Course number 1 comes into stores on May 15th, 2024.
Oops.
Looking forward to it. I enjoy that series. It's so much just pulpy fun.
My apologies to the sensitive folks out there. There was a cover in the article that was, I thought, would have been censored, but was not. So, but yeah, because I remember you talking about this when you first read it, and I was like, yeah, I'll check this out, and I never did.
I keep up with it when it comes out, so
right. So there you go. If you know about this series, hey, you're welcome, I guess. Next up, though, Junie Ba puts a cool.
Oh yeah, now I see the one that should have been censored. Look at that.
Junie Ba puts a cool cartoon spin on Damian Wayne in new DC Black Label book, The Boy Wonder. So, let's see. The new book, which is described as an accessible and heart-rending fairy tale, written and drawn by Junie Ba. The 5-issue series explores Batman's son's sometimes difficult relationship with the other men who have been Robin. That is Nightwing, Red Hood, and Red Robin. In the series, which launches in May, Batman has been called away on an urgent business. Won't sing that. When rumors start spreading of a demon stalking the streets of Gotham, however, Damian must work together with the other Robins to save the day. So, I believe the term is called, as Damian is tended to do, Black Label and cartoony. Yeah, no, the two don't seem to go together, but hey. I mean, you can see the art style here in the video version if you are so so choose to. So I guess you can get there's a weird Samurai Jack looking feel to, or at least that first image. So interesting. Also, Von Gloom says, can't read Gun Honey on the Train with those covers. No, you cannot. You will get some looks. Next up.
All right. So this summer, DC is collecting Kurt Busiek's various work across 15 years and multiple different comic book series in an author-specific collection titled Superman by Kurt Busiek, Book 1. So this is scheduled to arrive July 16th, and it will include the alt-universe story Superman Secret Identity with Stuart Immonen, as well as Busiek's mid-2000s runs on Action Comics and Superman, and also 1996's Superman, The Man of Steel Annual number 5. Okay.
This slightly reminds me of, I don't know why, but I should have put it in the thing, but Jim Lee had put out an image for that, for the Superman, Spider-Man reprint that they're doing.
Yeah, the Marvel crossover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's out there on the Twitters. So if anybody interested, but you might see it again next week.
Yeah, the cover. What I was gonna say is the cover that he's working on is actually the amalgam.
Yes.
So the one that he posted is the amalgam cover. Did he say he's also doing one for the Marvel crossover, the Marvel DC crossover one?
I'm not sure. It's probably in the article that I have, but like I said,
Okay.
I'll
Gotcha.
look into it.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
Because that's the one I want to pick up. I don't really care about the amalgam one, but the one I would like to pick up is the crossover one.
Yeah. Well, I did send you the link to the two that are pre-order, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's that's the
I know.
crossover is the one I want to get.
Von Gloom says, Amalgam had some good stories. I don't think I ever read them. We talked about this in the past. We won't go into it again, but I have access to them, so I might check them out.
Bought some of them. I bought some of them. I have some of them. They were okay.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check those out because I knew that was always that was a thing, but I had never, like, especially during that time, because I think that was a 90s thing, correct? So I was definitely not reading comics that heavily at the time.
Yep, mid 90s.
So I missed out on that one. The Legion of Galactic Guardians oddly works. Yeah, all right, I'll check them out. Superman, Lobo, Power Girl, and more star in May's House of Brainiac comics, because that doesn't sound familiar from the competition. So DC has detailed the books releasing as a part of Action Comics' 3-month House of Brainiac crossover arc this May. House of Brainiac kicks off this April as the second arc of the Superman Superstars publishing initiative. The first month sees the release of Action Comics' 1064, Superman 13, Power Girl number 8, Superman House of Brainiac Special number 1, with a tie-in story in Green Lantern number 10. So yeah, and then it just goes on to continue the schedule from then. Again, solicitations are out for May 2024, so you can kind of check that out in the show notes if you're so inclined. Next up.
Alrighty, so this summer, all of Amanda Waller's plans and schemes come to a head in a new DC comic book event that threatens everyone with superpowers in the DC universe and sees Amanda Waller make the ultimate power move literally. So what happens when the Trinity of Evil takes on the big DC Trinity of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman? Find out during a summer of absolute power. Hey. So the main story of Absolute Power will take place in a 4-issue series from Mark Waid and Dan Mora, launching in July. So no less than 2 one-shot special issues will lay the groundwork in the months prior. Okay. Yeah, so lots of Amanda Waller, coming to a head.
Which we saw coming. And we had, you know, so that's, I guess, not surprised. I just didn't think it was going to be this soon. Remember when Marvel and DC, they said they were going to slow down on doing events after event after event? But also put a caveat on that, which they're making good on. Here we are. Dan Mora is worth the price of a mention. Yeah, I love his art. Yeah, his art is great. So I can kind of agree with that statement. Watchmen co-creator Alan Moore's final comics will be published in October in a grimoire. Let's see. The Moon and Serpent bumper book of Magic has been in development for almost 2 years, according to the this article. It says here that it's designed as a clear and practical grimoire of the occult sciences, as well as a pictorial biography of many notable magicians. The 352-page hardback book will be released and published this October. It's a unique mix of writing, illustration, comics, including what seems to be Alan Moore's last works in a sequential art following his retirement from the medium, and advice on how to perform rituals and cast spells. If that doesn't sound like an Alan Moore book at this point, I don't know what it is. The man's been looking more and more like a wizard, you know, and I don't even say evil or good, but either way, that sounds like the most Alan Moore book ever.
Yep.
And so Alan Moore wrote a book of spells. Grant Morrison has 24 hours to respond. You're so silly. Fine Bloom says. So yeah, if that's stokes your flames, hey, there you go. You have only until October to check that out. I'm very kind of curious, honestly. I have not read too much Alan Moore stuff, but stuff like this is kind of a curiosity, honestly. Next up,
Image Comics has announced the Blood Squad 7, a new series that seeks to explore 90s super team dynamics through a contemporary lens, and it spins out of Image's new Dutch miniseries. This series, Blood Squad 7, launches in May from Joe Casey and artist Paul Fry. According to Image, the upcoming series will reveal what would happen if the extreme leather pouch-clad superheroes of the 1990s return to action following a 30-year absence. Good Lord.
Wildcat says hello. I don't know. But it's Joe Casey. I'm not surprised by that. So
yeah, I mean, listen, you know, like I know they tried to bring Wildcats back in
right.
DC, so
that's which is why why I said that. So the art list does look pretty good here. So go figure. Okay.
Blood Squad 7. It's a catchy title though.
Yeah. I was about to say, where's the Liefeld cover? And I think I found it. No, that's not. That's Jim Rugg.
No, it's whatchamacallit? It's an homage by Jim Rugg.
I know. That's what I said. I just noticed who actually did it. But I was actually looking for a Liefeld cover. But that's about this is as close as we're getting.
Yep.
So anyway, Oni to launch new EC Comics line. So EC stands for Entertaining Comics. Good to know, I guess. Wait, was that always what it was called?
What?
The EC Comics. I remember EC from back. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, the first new comics under the imprint since 1956 in cooperation with William N. Gaines Agent Inc. I believe, isn't that the founder of Mad Magazine? The line will launch in July 2024 and begin in August. Beginning in August will consist of at least 2 monthly series in the classic EC genres: horror, science fiction, fantasy, and others. So yeah, go Oni Press. Next up, it has no feet, so it's Liefeld. That's funny. Next up,
so writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Chris Anka are returning to the world they created in the 2019 2-issue miniseries The White Trees with a 3-issue miniseries The Whisper Queen. This is set in a fantasy world called Black Sand, and the first issue of The Whisper Queen will be published on May 1st, 2024. And there's a reprint of White Trees going to be available on May 8th. Okay.
I think White Trees, I think something totally different. I think Black Sands, I think of a video game. But hey, go on ahead. Star Trek 7 of 9 will return in a new novel called Picard Farewell. Let's see. Apparently it's coming out in the next couple of days, February 27th, 2024. Written by David Mack. It's 336 pages and a hardcover. And I guess focusing on 7 of 9. Oh, Firewall. Wait, it's Firewall, not Farewell. I said that totally wrong. Sorry. Firewall focuses on the former Borg character of 7 of 9. Actually links up with a notorious band of space vigilantes. And we have an exclusive chapter excerpt to share below, according to the space.com article. And I guess this is taking place during the time of Star Trek Picard, hence the name. Next up, and lastly, which you get the good one.
It's Mad Cave Studios' 10-year anniversary, and what better way to celebrate it than to announce their 2024 Gatchaman publishing program. So the Gatchaman license, originally acquired in 2023 from Tatsunoko Productions, will feature an exciting new rollout of content featuring an ongoing series with a subsequent Volume 1 trade release, individual character one-shots, and a Galactor miniseries. That's cool. So in May, the ongoing series starts. It's written by Cullen Bunn with art by Chris Batista. Let's see here. The all-new series begins with Gatchaman number 0, available as a free promotional item at participating retailers worldwide on Free Comic Book Day 2024, Saturday, May 4th. That's cool.
Yeah. So we knew about the Gatchaman series. The rest of this is new information. So the one-shots and the Galactor miniseries. So apparently, according to this, Ken is going to get a one-shot, and June the Swan's going to get one, and like I said, in addition to the Galactor miniseries. I should probably keep this because I'm at some point when we get to talking about those books, I'm going to be like, was this a miniseries or not? And
right. So, it's fun to see new Gatchaman art.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Did you happen to pull the trigger on the
I did.
The box set? Yes, you did. Okay.
I did. I do have it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. That art looks pretty good, and so I'm looking forward to this series. I'm hoping we're going to get some copies, review copies of the thing. If not, I'll just go buy physical. But
hope so too.
Yeah, I know there is a possibility we do have access to some Mad Cave stuff by means, but whether we're officially going to get it or not, we'll just see. But yeah, like I said, that was some good news to go out on because fans have Gatchaman around these parts. And that, folks, is the end of the news section. Can we get one last ad read?
We've been on for a while, folks. It's late. Help us keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us and click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through cspn.us. Do it today.
Alrighty, folks, that brings us to the end of another show. I know this is a long one, but it was a lot of information. There was a lot of things to go through. It probably should not be as bad next week. But we shall see, because we'll probably be doing it again. With that, I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at NewsNews on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. PC_Dirt on Twitter, Pop Culture Net on Twitter, PopCultureNetwork.com is on all these umbrella sites they're in. And Tim DOGG98 on Twitter, CB Cron on Twitter, which is the Comic Book Chronicles Twitter account. The Kliq Nation on Twitter, TheKliqNation, TheKliqNation.com, and and of course he is over at comicbook.com writing his face off. Good night, Von Gloom. Appreciate you coming through.
Good night. Peace.
Yeah, you can find this here podcast on the Coastal Podcast Networks. That's CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. That's it. Thursday nights, normally when we record on the YouTube channel of the Kliq Nation. That's youtube.com/the Kliq Nation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you know when we are broadcasting live. And leave us all the positive reviews.
There it is. And with that, folks, we'll be back next week for another episode. It
should be our regularly scheduled time.
Yes, should be. But if anything changes, obviously, we will say so one way or the other on our socials. So, but with that, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
And knowing is half the battle.